Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Thursday Cup Series. We sure are happy to be here this lovely Thursday night. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and I'm joined with none other than Big Al. And we have some exciting racing here for everyone here at Circuit of the Americas. Of course, the F1 track, kind of a little bit of a divisive racetrack in a lot of NASCAR fans' opinions. A lot of drivers do not think NASCAR should come to this track, but I'll tell you what, I think we're going to have some excitement that might prove some of them wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of drivers showing up here to tonight's action, I do believe, and can't wait to see all these guys duke it out. And I know a lot of drivers, I talked to them a little bit before the race, and some drivers have not turned very many laps here. Some have turned a lot. So I think there's going to be definitely some a very big mix of talent and skill out here. But how are you doing tonight, Big Al? Doing well?
Doing pretty good there, Brian. Excited to be here once again at the Circuit of the Americas. I think this one's going to be an exciting one. And you know what? Looks like we got a room full of ringers. That's right. We got a lot of guys that only come out and play with us once we're on road courses. And tonight, with no cautions, I think this one's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely will. That is a big talking point as well that we have to discuss. This, of course, NASCAR in the real world is not going to be throwing cautions for the stages. And speaking of the stages, let's take a look. Race facts for tonight, of course, this is the Texas de Brazil 161 at Circuit of the Americas. 47 laps these guys are going to have to tackle around this road course. Very difficult road course, mind you. A lot of very slow corners that lead into other corners, so you have to really put a whole lap together. But stages are 9 and 21, so coming to, I do believe, lap 10, we will be not throwing a caution. So I do believe as soon as they cross the line on lap number 10 and 22, that will be the running order for the stage points that these guys could get. Of course, incident counts are going to matter in this race as well. That is something that we never see actually matter in the ISCA, but it actually is going to matter here. If you get 17 X's, which means off tracks or contact, you will, I do believe, have to serve a pass-through penalty. And if you get 25, you are disqualified from the race. 5 sets of tires, going to be 4 actually down in the pits. Fuel window is about 20 laps. And I have heard tell that you can make this race on one stop, but it would be very difficult and you would be going very, very slow. Also, we know, Big Al, about these next gens that you don't necessarily have to take tires at these road courses.
Yeah, but that was usually the case. Tonight, we don't know. New damage model, new tire model. Guys are going to be out there under that old adage, but they also have to take into account that as they grow and mature, so does our series, right?
100%, and you do refer to the updates that happened just recently, and from what I've heard though from most of the drivers so far, that you are able to go and forego those tires. But I know that at least in one of the stops, because this is going to be a 2-stop race, if you're able to save, then that's perfectly fine. You can make it on one stop, but you're going to be turning some much slower laps. But if you do take 2 stops in this race, the first stop's probably going to be a tire stop, where you do take tires there, and then the last stop, probably no tires on that one. So I think tires will wear, but for the most part, at road courses, we've always seen it to where they get faster as the fuel tank kind of drains down. And I think that hasn't changed very much since the update. We'll have to wait and see kind of how that turns out, though. It's still some unanswered questions.
Also, but the biggest takeaway from this is that we get to see green flag pit stops no matter how this plays out. All of these drivers are going to have to come down pit road, and they have to do so under green flag conditions. So that in itself has me pretty excited, Brian.
100%. Definitely very difficult to pit these road courses. A lot of times it takes a lot of practice itself. As you always say, you race for show, you pit for dough. Let's take a look at the Super Cup Series points at the moment. Brandon Passalacqua at the top of the board with 41 points over Kenny Powell. Third place, Brian Johnson. He has a win himself. He is about 51 points back behind the leader, Brandon Passalacqua. Scott Naslin has been definitely doing very well. 2 top 5 so far. He sits fourth. Chris Johnson, he has been very apprehensive about this race here tonight, but he is still, I do believe, going to line up with the rest of the guys here. Greg Wychinski in 6th, Josh Schaffner 7th. I don't believe we see Schaffner out there. No, he is. Yes, he is out there. Of course, he is one of our other winners. Ryan Strunk sits 8th, 9th, Darren Mullins, and 10th, Mark Sanchez. So those are the Super Cup points right now. Of course, I do believe this is actually the second race of the Cup Series that has recently just started. But with that, I think now is an appropriate time to take our step back and play the national anthem so these guys can get these engines cranked up and gridded up.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Driver, start your engine!
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms, from camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, what have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Alrighty, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the grid set for this evening's action. The engines are cranked. We're getting ready to get this field moving here. Of course, Patrick Gitter, new driver to the league, qualifies up on the pole with a 2:11.452. That is very fast. Brendan Pasalacqua comes home or starts in second with a 2:12.362. So very much different there on the paces, about 9/10 difference to be exact. Third place going to be Matt DeCiani with Brian Johnson starting in fourth. Fifth place going to be Derek Heitman. Sixth place, Shane Parrish. Seventh place, Greg Wachinski. Kenny Powell qualifies in eighth. I know Kenny Powell actually said he's only turned 3 laps this week, so I'm surprised at the speed he's able to actually turn here. Ninth place, Scott Naslin. 10th place, Abner Acosta, who's always been a good road course ringer, and I do believe he did not actually qualify, and that leads us to 11th, Big Al.
Josh Schaffner starting in 11th with Jose Acosta, little brother to Abner. 13th is Chris D. Johnson. 14th, Ryan Strunk. 15th, Chad Sullivan. 16th, J.C. Evans. 17th, Greg Carr. 18th is going to be Mark Sanchez. 19th, Paul Osen. And 20th is going to be Alexander Carr.
Glad to see Alexander Carr back in the field. I think he missed the last week's race, but definitely glad to see him as we're going to get rolling here. Now, this is going to be probably the only pace lap we're going to see here tonight. Of course, I do believe we're going to be starting a little bit closer to the start-finish line here, so not too much time we'll have to wait. But these guys are already trying to warm the tires up. You see Patrick Gitter going back and forth. You see Brian Johnson going back and forth, trying to get those tires warmed up. Now, that is something that you always talk about.
It does matter. As soon as they put that tire temperature gauge on the instrument cluster, that means you can put heat in those tires. Because if you can see the temperature go up, then I guarantee you it matters as far as getting that heat to those tires.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially at a road course like this, getting the tires up to temp is such an important thing. I mean, driving on cold tires is going to be a difficult thing for these guys to tackle, and that's something we always talk about too. Is when it comes to pitting at a road course under green flag pit stops. That's why it's kind of almost a little bit of a disadvantage because having to get those tires back warmed up, you might turn a couple slow laps getting in there.
Oh yeah. Hey, have you made it to a Texas de Brazil yet?
I have not. We don't have one anywhere nearby me. There might be one in Columbia, of course, in South Carolina. I don't really have seen a lot of those. But it looks good. I know the commercial. It looks really tasty. But I'm excited to see what these new guys do. And Patrick Gitter His road I rating around 3,000, so I feel like he's going to be a really fast car. But then I look back into 10th place. Abner Acosta, he's always strong at these road courses. Pace car has dipped down pit road, though, and we're getting ready to get the green flag. And this is going to be really crazy to see as we have 20 cars along the grid. Of course, we'll see.
Stacking it up here, Brian.
I don't think we're going to, all 20 cars is going to make it to the end of this race. Green flag is out.
That's awesome. Got to make them work for it. Hopefully, these guys will not dive bomb turn one. That is always going to be a big concern, especially on this track. Narrow corner here.
It looks like everyone gets through fairly clean. Oh, a little bit of contact further back in the pack.
Yeah, and the thing is, without having the benefit of a stage caution or even a competition caution, these guys are definitely going to have to make every lap count. You don't get the opportunity to kind of sit back and wait on your strategy to develop, because as that leader gets out there and he keeps feeling his oats, I mean, all you're going to do is sit back and watch him just flourish.
And already Abner Acosta moving his way up into 9th place. He sits right behind Kenny Powell at the moment. Very interested to see how this is going to work without the stage cautions. Of course, these guys will still have a stage, but no break, you know.
Yeah, without the break, that's a big thing. Ooh, getting really sporty there going into turn 7, I do believe.
We do see also Derek Heitman and Matt DeCiani battling, I do believe.
That was Greg Wachinski that kind of got caught up there with Jose Acosta.
You also see the 25 of Greg Carr.
Oh, Abner Acosta, sorry. Abner Acosta and Greg Wachinski getting into it there.
A lot of guys all right here. You see Jose Acosta locks up the tires a little bit there as they still battle. Ryan Strunk. Oh, contact there with Jose and Ryan Strunk as they battle for, I do believe, that is, if I'm not mistaken, the 9th position.
Yeah, Abner already back on the move as he did get spun around there as he made contact with Greg Wachinski. Now these guys are going to be in a possible position to be about 2 wide going through these turns.
Yeah, a lot of 2 wide going on right now as we exit. And it looks like some guys doing better than others.
And, you know, one thing, too, I'll say, Brian, with the
J.C. Evans having some issues there.
Yeah, he definitely kind of flat-spotted his tires. Going to have to watch him. That's not what you want to do, especially with this new tire model. That's definitely going to cause his lap times definitely he's going to pay a penalty for it. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, for sure. And these guys, as I mentioned before, have to really watch out for the X's that they get on the track. But we do see Patrick Gitter. He now has about a half a second, but a big gap between Brandon Passalacqua and Brian Johnson, 2nd and 3rd at the moment.
Got a lot of ones out there as far as incident count, so nothing these guys need to worry about now. But then once again, we're only on lap 2 of 47. Seen a couple of drivers kind of bite off a little bit more than they can chew, but everybody seems to be still rolling along under their own pressure and power.
Yeah, we showed a little bit of in-car camera there during qualifying to kind of show what a lap around here looks like, and it's very difficult. I mean, even though you see these guys right now from these camera angles, it looks really simple from this view, but when you actually go into the cockpit, you can see that these guys are shifting. They're having to really brake hard, be really careful on the gas pedal. This is a track where slow is fast.
Yeah, and you can see that we're utilizing every square inch of this track. As the leader has got himself somewhat of a 27-second lead over the last place car.
Also see that Abner Acosta has recovered, it looks to be, as he is now moved up into the 9th spot. He pulls up behind Josh Schaffner. He just got by Ryan Strunk. And here he goes to the inside of Josh Schaffner. Now, one thing about it, and no cautions on the stage brakes, makes it to where anything you do, you'll pay for it later. There's no recovery, there's no redemption, if you will, unless someone else has major issues. So you got to be really careful. You have to be insanely cautious here that you don't make a mistake. Because if you spin out and lose 5 seconds, you ain't getting that 5 seconds back, Big Al, unless you are really able to get a pretty good pit sequence that allows you to get that time back.
Yeah, and I think Abner just kind of got into Greg Wachinski Greg started up in 7th. Abner started all the way in 10th. And so when those two just got together, it was an issue of him trying to get around them. But look at what Abner's doing now. He is dissecting this track with precision. Looks like he's a surgeon out here. I mean, and if you watch him, he is going to continuously put up better and better lap times because he's going to be trying to hunt down the Pasalacquas and the Glitters. I mean, that's what he's here for, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm surprised he didn't qualify, but definitely going to be trying his best to catch up. Of course, he's about 17 seconds now behind Patrick Gitter. That is a long way to try to, catch up to. Of course, he has about 7 seconds to get up even to 6th place Shane Parrish at the moment.
And so right now he can really just run his own race. He doesn't have to worry about what everybody else is doing. He can kind of get into his own pace, and that makes a big difference, Brian. If you're in this race, say if you're up front, now you're being chased. If you're second or third, you're chasing, but it means so much to just be able to kind of sit back and just kind of get into oneself. Atonement at one, being at one with oneself.
Yeah, this is definitely the track that you're going to want to be at one with the racetrack and oneself. As we see, Brandon Pasalacqua is really putting a lot of pressure on Patrick Gitter at the moment. And Pasalacqua definitely seemed like he was very confident coming into this race. And I expected he could challenge for the lead here. He was side by side in that last straightaway. Of course, this is the low speed corners that these guys are having to navigate right now. So definitely very scary. You do see Brian Johnson also turning some really good laps at the moment. He is starting to catch up to these two gentlemen. And the more they race, the more that's going to be the case.
And that's going to be the case, especially with this track right here. You said earlier that a lot of people didn't think NASCAR belonged here. With this car, though, I think this car is meant to race on this track with that independent rear suspension and that sequential transmission. I think these guys are having a blast out there.
100%. It seems like it's very difficult to find those passing zones. So, I mean, I think that at this moment, Brandon Pasalacqua is faster than Patrick Gitter. He's going to see if he can't send it into turn one. He goes in narrow.
Good line.
He goes in real narrow. Look at that. What a turn. But he
still hasn't put it off yet. He's still got to be able to make it through this next series of turns in order to try to get a lead.
Yeah, that's one thing about it when you take a narrow entry like that. Of course, Patrick Gitter on the higher side is going to get the run off of the corner. But still, Brandon Pasalacqua not going anywhere at the moment.
And I think what Pasalacqua needs to do, listen to me, Big Al's going to tell you, right? He just needs to keep putting, it's just like you would do with any kind of a wound. He needs to keep putting pressure on it, apply firm pressure. If you want to make Gitter actually get loose, apply firm pressure. And eventually, pressure does one or two things. It busts pipes or builds diamonds, right?
100%. What a run there from Brandon Pasalacqua there to that last series of corners. He's able to stay right here with the 21. But still, all this is doing is allowing Brian Johnson to catch up. And Johnson is one that I talked about a little bit earlier about a lot of drivers who haven't really thoroughly prepared for this race here tonight. Johnson is the opposite. He has been one that has been turning lap after lap after lap to try to see if he can't get that car set up just right for him. And it looks like it's working out for him.
That's how you're going to get fast at this track. You have to study each and every apex, each and every turn, the entrance, the exits, where you hit it. I mean, and it's not just one corner, Brian. I mean, it's 17 turns through this racetrack that you got to get through. So a lot of drivers got to study this. This is definitely more of an art form. You can't come in here and just say, I got 4 turns to worry about. You got a lot more than that. And plus, when you add in the spirit of competition, it's even more tricky.
Yeah, this is definitely a track where you have to race the actual track itself. You can't get caught up racing everyone else around you. And look at that. Look at the cockpit camera of Brandon Pasalacqua coming off of that final turn. You see that he's definitely dirt tracking it out a lot of these corners.
What was the first vehicle that you drove on this race surface?
Never. I've never driven on this
race. Are you serious?
Track.
You never? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Forza. I've driven even the Pro 4 trucks on this course. And I'm gonna tell you, they don't handle very well.
Those trucks are very fun, though. I see a lot of times you can take those trucks onto the asphalt road courses and just have a ball with them. They probably take those turtles a lot better than these cars do. Those turtles are definitely a dangerous thing. You see those yellow little humps on every one of these corners. That is a problem. If you hit that, it will launch your car into the air.
But I'm going to tell you what, this is exciting. And just doing the ride along here, right here with Brandon Pasalacqua, you can see exactly how much fun he's having and just how sporty it is. And that's a lot more. That draws people in a lot more than just kind of go straight, turn left, Brian. So for the drivers to be able to come out here and showcase their skill sets, you know, how even drifting, you know, that's a skill set. I think that's the reason why I like road course so much.
You do see a little bit further back here, Jose Acosta under fire from now Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson all over the back bumper of the 42 at the moment, trying to look for any way to pass, and looks like they are side by side.
Yeah, I don't know. Jose is not going to yield.
When does he ever, right?
Yeah, he's going to take a different line here, definitely try to get a run, but looks like Johnson got the better of him.
Yeah, definitely good job, and I'm very impressed with what we're seeing from Kenny Powell at the moment. Quite shocking to me that he's doing as well as he is, just considering what he said. He's like, I haven't turned any laps here. I've turned only 3 coming into this race, and, you know, looks like he's definitely got himself a little bit more up to speed, but I think he's going to be under fire here shortly by Chad Sullivan, who's right behind him.
Does Kenny Powell remind you of the gambler? When you see Kenny Powell, don't you think of Kenny Rogers with the gambler? Oh, Jose goes way wide right there. That's going to cost him. Josh Schaffner going to be trying to see as long as it doesn't affect his race. But that costs Jose some more positions. Now, the big thing about that, Brian, is those spotters have got to be in these guys' heads saying that just because there's not going to be a flag doesn't mean that that stage is not going to end. And guess what? That stage is going to end here in about 3 laps. So you got to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to get some stage points, because the Super Cup Series is well under its way, and Brandon Pasalacqua looks like he's going to be trying to run to the bank with this thing.
%. I wanted to focus a little bit on Josh Schaffner at the moment. We can actually see he has a foot camera this time around. Love to see that. I hope we get more drivers that kind of put their feet camera in, kind of see how these guys have to work these pedals.
What a racetrack to do that on as well.
Yeah, 100%. As we see Greg Wyszynski actually go side by side with Schaffner. Of course, this is the battle, I do believe, for 13th at the moment. Also, J.C. Evans, who was having a little bit of issues. We saw him having issues. He's had a nice recovery, though, as he's right there in the mix as well in the battle for the top 15 spots.
Yeah, wow.
I think we might have missed a change for the lead here, Big Al. Brandon Pasalacqua back up front. He is up front now. Patrick Gitter, of course, locking the brakes up, trying to see if he can't get back to the rear end. We definitely missed that pass.
Apply firm pressure.
100%. Now, one thing about it, though, being in the lead here at a track like COTA, you don't have that reference. You don't have that guy in front of you. A lot of times when you're around a track like this, you're able to watch the guy in front of you and match what he's doing and maybe do it a little bit better. But when you're out in the lead, you do not have that reference point anymore.
And that's the one thing he's got to worry about now, because now he has got to set his own pace, knowing that this stage right here is still got still got 3 laps to go before it's over. Whoa, looks like Schaffner now. Actually, that's Acosta who is racing against
Chad Sullivan, I do believe,
at 21. Sullivan. Sorry, I got my picture set back to the blip. Usually I know everybody's car schemes, but we got about 3 cars that are sporting the same scheme, so it makes it a little bit tricky right there.
Yeah, 100%. It kind of does, because, I mean, you see Chad Sullivan's got the 21 on his race car, while actually Patrick Gitter is the 21 in sim. Chad Sullivan, of course, being the actual 16 in iRacing at the moment.
Ooh, Powell way off the mark there as Wyszynski made it by him on the inside, and now he backed Schaffner up. So it's going to be interesting to see just how patient Schaffner is going to be. Now, these guys are all the way back in 13th and 14th place, and you're not going to get any points back there because those are not points payable positions, Brian. So they're going to have to try to figure out how to make the way through this field here pretty quick.
Yeah, they're definitely battling right now just to see if they can't get points at the end of this race. But, of course, with the pit sequences and stuff like that, we could see, just with a pit strategy, you're able to get some points, some stage points. Just considering, I'm not really sure when everybody's going to be pitting. Who has the plan to maybe save gas and make this a one-stop?
There you go. See, that's the question right there. I was waiting to see when somebody was going to ask. Who is going to be able to make this thing a one-stop strategy, but who is actually going to be dependent upon everybody else? Who's just going to cave and just say, forget it, and come on down pit road anyway?
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to be a huge question that we're going to have answered at some point here. Well, you see a lot of gaps starting to form out there on the racetrack. Of course, Abner Acosta sits in 6th place. He now has, I do believe, 10 seconds back to Shane Parrish, who has moved back into 7th place. Of course, Shane Parrish has another 10 seconds back to Ryan Strunk. And even there with Ryan Strunk and Chris Johnson, there's about 6 or 7 seconds, I do believe, in between them. So a lot of gaps starting to form here. And because of the fact that we're not going to have stage cautions, those gaps are not going to go anywhere unless these guys make mistakes.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's going to level the field here is just an incident, just what you see right there. And I do believe that is going to be Greg Wachinski, who was just kind of a little bit wide around. Drivers are going to have to make mistakes along the race course. And then once again, once you come down pit road, that's going to be a factor that's going to set the pace for a lot of drivers, unfortunately, because, you know, once I say this again, you drive for show, you pit for dough. And you got to be pit perfect here on a road course in order to make the difference.
100%. And, of course, we talked about the X's as well. If these guys get off tracks or any type of incident, that will count against them. If they get up to 17, they have to bring it down pit road. That will be a big factor. And also, these guys, I'd say exhaustion level is also going to be a huge factor as well. Just considering, I mean, we saw races past at the Oval here in the ISCA series that, you know, these guys get a break. You know, they get those cautions that give them a little bit of time to breathe, or whether it be a caution based on an accident, give them a little bit of time to breathe. These guys have no time to breathe. They have to be focused the entire time.
And think about it like this too, Brian, just another point to put out there. For guys that are running a direct drive wheel system, well, that's totally different than a guy that's running, say, a G920, where that direct drive wheel is going to be whipping your butt all night, every turn, where the G920, you know, you just really just kind of along for the ride. So that's another thing, too, that plays into a track like this.
100%. You're 100% on it right there for sure. And if you're running one of those direct drive wheels with the high force feedback, if you make a mistake, you yank that wheel right out of your hand, and you could even almost get injury there. I mean, I've heard of that happening before, to where guys will, you know, have a, you know, maybe even a sore arm or something like that, just considering, you know, it pulls it right out of your hand.
Well, I mean, it's the amount of force that's being applied. So that's another thing to consider for a long period race like this. You know, that's going to play into it as well, the fatigue factor.
Yeah, 100%. Mental fatigue as well. I mean, it's not even just the, I'd say, physical. It's going to be mental. I mean, because, you know, if you lose focus.
What kind of chair you sitting in? What kind of shoes are you wearing? You know what I mean? All of this is going to come into play. What kind
100%.
of rig you got?
Let's take a look at the lap times at the moment. Looks like Brandon Pasalacqua definitely turning some really good ones. He's one of the fastest in the field. Of course, Patrick Gitter, last time by, was a bit faster. But I'll tell you who's been the fastest thus far is Abner Acosta, hitting a 2:12.082 last time by. So he is quickly catching up. Of course, we talked about him being 15 seconds behind the leader. Now he is only 10.
Yeah, and you're going to have to watch that. And also, Brian, interested to note, this stage will come to an end here once these guys come across the line. And I do believe that driver is going to be, the 42 of Jose Acosta is going to be about where that stage marks itself.
Now, I'm not sure, though, Big Al, because that's usually how we mark it when it comes to an oval. But here, there is going to be no caution, so I would assume, I'm not sure. You might be right about that, but I'm not quite sure.
Well, it should be once the flag, the stage should end once the 10th place car crosses the line on lap 10.
Yeah, I mean, of course, usually we expect a caution to come out at that point.
You won't get the caution, but I'm just saying that's where those stage points that's where they're gonna end themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to wait, you know, and I don't think much is going to change in between then and now.
Nope.
Because, I mean, they are quite spread out at the moment. Of course, Brandon Passalacqua with a 1.6 second lead at the moment. The only place I think it could change possibly would be maybe Abner Acosta possibly getting up to Derek Heitman.
Yeah, Greg Wachinski definitely mixing it up right here with Jose Acosta. Those guys understand what's on the line. They're definitely racing to that 10th place position.
Yeah, they're trying to get points. I mean, Wachinski trying to get points here as he is battling also with Chad Sullivan, who's right there behind him.
And you definitely understand that Wachinski's going to do everything he can to try to get around Acosta, and Sullivan's going to do everything he can to try to get around Wachinski.
And here we go. I do believe Brandon Passalacqua has crossed the start-finish line to start lap number 10. So we're waiting on Jose Acosta to cross it. Of course, you see the massive gap between Brandon Passalacqua and Jose Acosta is 54 seconds, almost 55. So that is a long way for sure. I think by the time even Jose crosses the line, I think Passalacqua is going to be well into this next lap.
Yeah, but here's the next thing that you got to consider now, because now we got a whole different problem. We don't have enough gas in these machines to make it to the next stage. So at some point, drivers are going to have to figure it out. They got to come down pit road. If you're up front, if you're in the top 5, you have not been saving, period.
Well,
you've been racing.
That's definitely true, and that does actually bring us to the completion of stage number 1. Of course, green flag is going to stay out, but let's do a running order here. Brandon Passalacqua, your stage 1 winner. Patrick Gitter, 2nd. Matt DeCiani, 3rd. Brian Johnson in 4th. Derek Heitman, 5th. Abner Acosta in 6th. Shane Parrish, 7th. Ryan Strunk, 8th. 9th, Chris Johnson. And Jose Acosta, I do believe, was able to hold on to it for that 10th spot. Of course, Greg Wachinski has gotten by him after the stage completion.
Yeah, so now drivers are going to be, they got to look at one thing and one thing only. I don't have enough gas to get to the end of this stage. So I got to make a pit stop. So the question is, when I come in, do I stay out long enough that I can actually make one stop, get 4 tires and fuel, and make it to the end of this thing? I don't think that's even going to be possible, Brian, especially if you're in the top 5.
Well, I mean, especially how long this track is as well. Now, some of the guys that are further back that have been really turning very slow lap times, it could be a possibility, but I still doubt it. Oh, is Paul Olson's actually going to go a lap down here and 3 wide at COTA?
Yeah, he created a 3 wide condition right there. I don't think anybody was expecting, nor do they appreciate, but hey, you know what? It just happened.
Abner Acosta shoots up to 5th now.
Kudos to all those drivers making it through that situation just fine.
Now, of course, next stage will end coming to lap 22. So we still have, I do believe, 11 laps in this stage.
And we will be watching and letting you know once these drivers actually do decide to venture down pit road, because that in itself is a journey, Brian. And then the next thing is you're not really sharing your strategy if you're going to take 4 tires, 2 tires, no tires. So you're kind of leaving everybody else out there to really kind of gander and guess, if you will.
You see Chad Sullivan getting really close to the back end there of the 42. And there goes Sullivan sideways on the front stretch. Good save, though, by him there. He was able to keep it off of the wall. That could have been a bad deal for sure.
Chad got a little bit sideways.
Wouldn't be an ISCA broadcast without that Big Al karaoke.
That'd have been missing for a minute there. I'm going to get back in tune there, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me.
Need to get one of those instruments where you blow it on it and you know your key.
Yeah, something like that.
Do you see Scott Naslin also starting to come into the picture here for the top 15? He's been slowly but surely catching up to the back end of the 9. As you see them right now actually battling for that 15th spot. Kenny Powell not far out in front of these 2 drivers. But the gaps have increased massively at the moment from the leader back to this 15th position. Over a minute back here. So these guys, I think by the end of this race, we're going to see a lot of drivers that are a lap down.
Yeah, because Brandon Passalacqua right now is slowly encroaching upon the 18. I think the 18 is going to come down pit road, or at least let the leader go by.
Also seeing that Brandon Pascalak was starting to get caught by Patrick Gitter. So I think maybe this was a strategy call for Gitter. I mean, I think maybe he was like, I'm going to let you go on ahead, bud. I'm going to save my tires, and I'll be there with you in a moment.
Well, yeah, I got it. He's also getting ready to catch Greg Carr in the 25. So we're starting to see cars actually start to go a lap down. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely some great battling, though, right now for the lead. I do believe we're going to see maybe possibly a change in position. Of course, being at a road course, it's hard to know where you should go as a lap car. Greg Carr goes wide and lets him go through. But when, we always talk about this, that lap cars, or guys that are getting ready to go a lap down, I should say, are not going to want to let the leader go. They'll let second place go, and that could be something that causes a change for the lead. If Patrick Gitter times it out right, depending on when that 6 catches up to a lap car.
What Patrick's going to have to do is going to have to get her done. In order to do that, he's going to have to apply firm pressure to Pascalak. The same way Pascalak applied firm pressure to him, he's going to have to return the favor. That's the only way you're going to get by this guy.
Of course, Alexander Carr moving up out of the way as we do see a battle for the 4th place position. Abner Acosta fighting with the 4 of Brian Johnson. Of course, Brian Johnson started, I do believe, up in 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. He is definitely not doing as well right now, as now Acosta has taken that 4th place position.
Well, at this point, you're starting to deal with brake fade. You got heat coming into the tires, so everybody's fighting their own demons in this point. But Abner Acosta, he is the guy you really got to watch out for, because I think he put himself back there in the back, Brian, just so he could battle through his own adversity. We've seen him start these races up front, and then he bombs it on the first turn. So I think at this race, he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to start back in the back of the pack. I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to be poised, and I'm just going to drive my way to the front. And I don't think anybody can stop him, because as long as he is not battling himself, good luck catching this guy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you hit it right on the money there, Big Al. I mean, we've seen him start up front in the lead, wreck into turn 1, fall all the way back to, well outside the top 10, and drive his way back to the lead again. This guy, you cannot stop him. Even if he makes a mistake, it's almost like he just tied his hand behind his back, and he's just trying to make it a little bit easier on you, As he catches up to Matt DeCiani. Of course, he's about a second faster than Matt DeCiani at the moment. If you look at the lap times, he was the fastest on the track last time by.
And think about what you're saying. I mean, sometimes you just have to take the words and just listen. He's about a second faster than Matt DeCiani. I mean,
yeah,
really?
100%. I mean, this guy he's outrageous.
And Matt DeCiani, in every other circle that we're in, is freaking fast.
But Abner Acosta's an alien. I mean, this guy is all about road course racing. Of course, he's very talented at ovals as well, but I would definitely consider him to be a road course ringer. As he fights up to 3rd now. He gets by DeCiani. Now going to be... He's about 9 seconds back from Patrick Gitter here. Of course, Gitter has taken the lead from Brandon Pascalak while we've been watching this.
I think this is the story that you're going to tell right now. You're just watching Abner make his way through the field, because slowly he is in the frame of the leaders, and that's all you can say about that, And like you said, he is turning the fastest lap, so.
Still haven't seen anyone decide to bring it down pit road here. I'm wondering how these guys are going to break this up. Of course, the fuel window is estimated to be about 20 laps. Of course, we have 4 sets of tires, and I think that is plenty, because some guys are going to forgo tires at all. I do
20 laps, though, on a road course, okay? That's a lot different than when we've said, the fuel window is going to be 50 laps on an oval, and guys run to 53, 54. And that's not happening here. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. And especially at a 2-minute lap racetrack. I mean, that's a long lap,
Yeah, pick me. It's like when you're driving down the interstate and that low fuel light comes on, and you're looking at how many services are on the sign. He's like, "Nah, we'll just wait on the next one." Yeah, that's where you're gonna be.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, especially you go to like some in the Midwest, you know, like 200 miles to the next gas station. Like, you know.
Yeah, whoa.
I'm very impressed with Chris Johnson here tonight, though. Even though he's about a minute back from the leaders, he came into this race not trusting that he was going to be any good here. He knew something would probably go wrong for him. He even said that I'll probably do the first 2 stages and then give up if I'm not making up any time. But I think he's doing good. I mean, he's 9th place in a 20-car field. That's a pretty dang good finish there if he is able to maintain this.
Yeah, you can't talk to yourself like that, though. I mean, I wouldn't want you to talk to. Oh, somebody's way off into the dirt there. I do believe
that?
That's Paul Olsen going way wide.
Of course, he's going to be letting a lot of drivers go here. He is now a lap down, along with Greg Carr and Alexander Carr.
I think
Mark
Paul's
Sanchez is going to be the next guy to go a lap down here.
I think Paul's just getting better. I mean, that's all I could say about it. I mean, he's out here running with these guys, and that's the key. You're not going to get better if you're not, if you're sitting on the porch. Ain't no way you're ever going to get better.
No, 100%. I mean, this is a track that takes a lot of, just muscle memory, repetition. And, glad to see him. It takes a lot of bravery and courage to get out here. I know I'm not brave enough to do it.
Well, heck yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you want to run with the big dogs, you got to get off the porch. And Paul Olsen is not on the porch. He's out here running with the big dogs.
We do see a battle going on right now here for this 11th place position. Of course, the 16 to Chad Sullivan has been all over Jose Acosta. Now going to try to send it in on the inside. Jose Acosta locks it up, and that is going to give the position up. Now can Josh Schaffner take advantage?
Even caused Schaffner to kind of check up a little bit and alter his trajectory. That just shows you what these guys are dealing with. But right now, I'm telling you, these spotters are sitting there and talking to these guys, and they're letting them know, hey, look, we're trying to figure out the best time for us to come down in this thing in order for it to work out. And that's all of the talk right now is Jose is still hard on the brakes.
Also watching the battle here between 4th and 5th, Matt DeCiani and Brian Johnson really giving each other not a lot of room at the moment. As you see Brian Johnson trying to see if he can't work his way back up into that 4th place position. Definitely seems like DeCiani's on the struggle bus at the moment.
Woo! Man, nobody wants to sit on that struggle bus, but you know what? It V54 funk, it fills up quick.
Now on lap 15 of this 47-lap race, and this thing's been flying right on by. We definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in as well. Hopefully you're enjoying the show thus far. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe, and look us up on ISCA. If you're interested in seeing what you're seeing here, all the level of competition that we have, some of the best racing on iRacing is right here in the ISCA. So we hope you will reach out to Kenny Powell or reach out to the ISCA Facebook group and get in, or even just go on iRacing into the league search, the directory, and you can find the ISCA. And definitely feel free to apply. We'd love to be able to shout your name out on the broadcast. Wouldn't you agree, Big Al?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you think you got what it takes, or you know someone that you think has what it takes, please go ahead and apply and come on out here, man. We'd definitely love to have anybody come out here and shake up the order a little bit. And if you got a couple buddies you know and you guys are really good, man, we would love to have a team come in here to shake it up, because we've got a couple more teams coming into the service, and it's just made this racing even that much greater. It's now Josh Schaffner doing everything he can to catch up to the 16 of Chad Sullivan. Schaffner is feeling the urgency here, Brian, because just like that, I mean, this stage 2, it's going to be in the books here eventually.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to work his way up to maybe be in the points. Of course, he does have quite a ways to go to get up to Greg Wychinski, who sits in 10th. Very impressed with what Greg Wychinski has managed to do here so far. He's been catching up there to Chris Johnson. But, of course, you talk about having another team come in here and possibly do some battle with these G&G guys. I know a lot of people talk about the ISCA, talk about, oh, that's just a G&G league. But everybody in G&G and everybody here in the broadcast booth right now, we want to see that G&G monopoly topple, don't we? I mean, I want to see a team come out here and whoop up on them like we used to see when Triad was out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we got a couple good teams in here now, so it definitely is. I don't feel like it's no longer a G&G show. I think we've got a lot of teams as well as individuals that are doing phenomenal here, man. And it's a story that's developing, and the only way you're going to be able to see that is you're going to have to like, subscribe, and tune in, because I got a feeling we're going to be shaking it up a lot of it here, especially through the Super Cup Series as well as Season 2 here, Brian.
Of course, we just did see Brian Johnson able to get past Matt DeCiani. Of course, Derek Heitman, he started up in front of, I do believe, DeCiani, but now he is starting to catch back up to him. But looking, the man, the myth, the legend, Abner Acosta, now only separated by a little over 5 seconds back to Patrick Gitter. Think about that, Big Al. We talked about it earlier, about, 10 laps ago or something like that. He was like, oh, man, he's 15 seconds back.
No, said that.
How does he claw that back? Look at him now. He's 5 seconds from the lead. That is just astronomical, amazing to see.
We've seen Abner do this. I mean, the guy understands the track. He runs it on a fixed setup. He's just, I mean, this is his strong suit. His strong suit is the road course. I mean, he's a ringer on a oval, but he is really the guy that you don't want to bet against on a road course. So glad to see that he made it here tonight. Glad to see that he's still actually able to compete. He actually started this series with the Saturday night guys, but had conflict. So he said, hey, look, I'll be able to, if I can come over and race on a Thursday night, I'll come over there as much as I can. Glad to see him come. As a matter of fact, man, on that note, thanks to, do you realize we started this with 20 cars on this field on a road course on a Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely great. I mean,
sorry, right there, hard to hit. That is going to be Josh Schaffner, I do believe, that got hard into the back of Mr. Sullivan. No, actually, I'm sorry. That's Jose Acosta that got into Chad Sullivan.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Contact there. Spins that 21, or 16, I should say, around. Scott Naslin has to take evasive maneuvers. Definitely see exactly what you're talking about there. That puts Scott Naslin into the picture here on Jose Acosta. There's a little bit of beef on the racetrack at the moment.
Oh, 100%, baby. 100% ISCA beef.
And look at this. We're going to see, I do believe, the battle for second start to heat up very soon. Abner Acosta, who we've been talking nonstop about here tonight, is really starting to catch up to Brandon Pasalaka. But you got to keep in mind, Big Al, 17 laps in this race. Fuel window is coming up very, very soon.
Yeah, but nobody's going to show that hand. And I think right now, you know, with the gaps being what they are, drivers are like, because they got to make some serious decisions here. I mean, you want to try to make this thing a one-stop race, but I don't think you got that luxury right now. I just don't see it being in the cards because they're literally racing pretty hard here, Brian, especially all the way through the top 6.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think any of those guys are going to have a hope or a prayer. You see Paul Olsen down pit road.
Paul Olsen coming down pit road. He got nothing to lose. Come on down here, Paul. Get you 4 good tires and some good news.
100%. And definitely, I don't think anyone's going to – because, I mean, you're seeing if the guys that are back in the mid-pack are saving, look how much time they've lost if that was the case. Because, I mean, they are a minute 35 back. And I think by the end of this race, Big Al, we're only going to have possibly 10 cars on the lead lap, maybe less. Just considering – the variable that is pit road. I mean, we've seen it at oval after oval after oval after road course. I mean, we've seen it so many times to where guys will mess that up on pit road, get a speeding penalty, and, you know, with no cautions here at this racetrack, there's nothing to save you if you get that speeding penalty.
Say that again, the big thing being no cautions, all right? In a road course, what can save you? The only thing that's going to save you is yourself. I mean, there's no magical cloud that you're going to be able to just take a knee on and wait on the racing gods to come and no, it's not going to happen. Kenny's not going to throw a caution. I'm not going to throw a caution. So, yeah, if you're not out there racing and aggressive, you're just watching seconds go by that you're never going to get back.
Take a look to the cockpit camera here. Abner Acosta as he catches up to Brandon Pasalaka as the battle for second is really starting to heat up. I don't think Brandon's going to want to let Abner go, but I don't think he's going to have a choice, and there he goes.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, I mean, how do you justify not letting him go? He caught you.
Yeah, and the thing is you got to think that Patrick Gitter is looking at his relative like, where did this guy come from?
But Gitter, if he had a good spotter, his spotter should have been calling and letting him know that Abner's on his way. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up when I am is because at this point, Gitter's got to understand that, look, when he is going to catch you, come down pit road. This is the perfect opportunity to pit. That way you save face. Nobody else needs to know anything, and they'll just say leader pit road. That's the last thing they heard about you. What do you think about what I said? You think I'm wrong?
That's interesting. No, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I think that would be, I mean, especially if you can't make this race on one stop, you might as well split it up a little bit better. And you know, I definitely think that it would be a good idea for Gitter to possibly come down pit road.
Absolutely. Why not? At that point, you know, now I'm using the last card that I have to either bluff people or at least to force their hand. Because when they hear that, leader pit road, I mean, think about it. Think about what that does to your momentum and your morale and your psyche.
Yeah, and it might even push some other drivers to maybe alter their strategies as well. As we see the 22, of course, has gotten by Jose Acosta a little bit further back here. Scott Naslin has been definitely very one of the big movers here so far here.
And you know what? And think about it like this too, Brian. It's not going to have the only way that has an effect is if it says leader pit road. If it says the 21 pit road, nobody cares. You get what I'm saying? So Abner's running you down, and I'm waiting to see. This is going to be interesting. This is what I'm waiting to see. If he can, number one, maintain his lead. If Gitter can keep his lead all the way to pit road, and then number two, if he does, he like to come down.
Well, I think both of these drivers are going to have to pit very, very soon, along with Brandon Ponceloff, as they are now 19 laps coming to 20. Now, of course, we do have a stage break, which is going to change, or not a break, I should say, a stage that is going to change a lot of things as well. If these guys have to pit, are they trying to save to make it to the end of the stage so they don't lose out on those valuable points?
I don't think you're going to make it. So we're going to wait and see what the 21 does here.
Looks like he's going to stay out
Woohoo!
One more lap here.
4-day weekend.
And I think he might, this lap, get passed by Abner Acosta. I mean, Abner, every second that these guys spend on the track, he's catching him.
Yeah, Abner's going to be trying to make magic happen here going through turn one. Still going to be hard to do. Now, another thing is, even if these guys do make it through the end of this stage, they're still going to have to come down and pit.
Look at this lap time, though, Big Al. Last time by Abner Acosta, a 2-minute 11.612. By far the fastest lap on the racetrack.
Almost a full second.
Oh, he's 2 seconds. He is 2 seconds faster than Patrick Gitter right now.
Yeah, right now, yeah, he's 2 seconds faster. But I'm saying his fastest lap right there is almost a second faster than Gitter's fastest lap.
Truly showing that, you know, as the fuel burns off in these tanks, you know, Abner's able to go faster, even though other guys might be struggling a little bit more. Of course, the fuel draining out of these race cars does change the handling quite a bit, but Abner has been always a great driver at being able to improvise and know what the car is going to do. And I think
look at that! Contact between the two. That is not going to be good. I'm certain Abner made contact.
I don't think they did make contact.
Sorry. Wait. Was that Jose?
Could very well have been. Not quite sure, though. Was that between...
Pretty wide right there with Kenny Powell. Man, a lot of things going on the racetrack right there. Sorry.
Yeah, I was confused on where that actually happened at. Was it Jose that had an issue? We see Kenny Powell, though, definitely losing some spot.
Powell had contact.
Definitely a lot of beating and banging. See if we can't find what happened here with Jose. I think, it was the 42 and the 22 having an issue here. You were right, Jose. And it wasn't even Jose's fault. The 22 locked up the tires on the exit. And unfortunately, Jose, nowhere to go, gets into the 22. So Scott Naslin losing a lot of positions. He moves back to 6th. He is last on the lead lap now.
Ooh-wee.
It is definitely getting hairy out here for these drivers. Also looking back to the front, Abner Acosta only 4/10 behind Patrick Gitter. He is getting bigger and bigger in that rearview mirror. Take a look at the far chase. This is probably a really good camera angle to watch as Abner Acosta catches up.
And Abner's going to be doing everything he can right now to get around him because that's going to be into that stage.
That is right.
Stage 2 is going to be in the books.
Of course, we have to wait for Greg Wychinski, who is a minute 33 back to cross line 4. Stage 2 is in the books, I do believe, as you mentioned before. But love this camera angle. Really shows a lot here. Just so difficult to pass. So even though Abner caught up to Patrick Gitter, it's going to be very difficult to actually make this pass stick. But I think Abner, he's capable. He's got the confidence. A little lock up there from the 21. It goes wide, and that is going to give Abner Acosta the lead from 15 seconds back. A long time ago, he was able to drive his way and get all that time back. Look at him. Started in 10th place, fell back, I do believe, outside of the top 10, and drove his way back up to, or drove his way to the lead. You can't make this stuff up, Big Al.
Apply pressure. And that's what he did. At every position, every turn, every second, everybody in front of him, he applied pressure. Even when he got up to the leader, Patrick Gitter, all he simply did was applied pressure. Gitter just kind of slid out, you know. And what causes that to happen? That's that sixth sense. That's that etheric sense right there, Brian. You can feel him coming. Your spotter's telling you, your relatives telling you, and then he's right there all of a sudden. He's in your rearview mirror, and what are you going to do? He's the boogeyman.
Definitely is. So they do cross the line. They have to, of course, wait for Greg Wychinski to cross the line before this stage is actually in the book. Greg Wychinski being a minute 34 back now. So he's actually trying to catch up to Chris Johnson. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing from Wychinski right now. He's been showing, not the best pace out there, but he's been consistent. And I think that's a big thing for him. That's good. Because I know that Greg Wychinski's not necessarily the best road course racer.
Well, I mean, everybody's going to get better. But the one thing that I'm sitting here looking at now, and I'm waiting to see when we're going to have to take fuel.
Should be soon. I mean, considering the, kind of the projected fuel window is 20 laps. So I think might not be quite that, or a little bit more than that, it seems to be. So there might be a possibility to make this race on one stop, possibly.
I think Wychinski's made it through. Has he crossed the line yet? Nope, he's still yet to come.
Yeah, this shows you really how far back he is from the leader. As we have him up on the screen right now, as soon as he crosses the start-finish line, we will know for sure who is our top 10 in this stage. I do believe he's going to be exiting the final corner now onto the front stretch. And he will be getting ready to cross the start-finish line, and he does. And that will make it to where Abner Acosta wins stage 2. Patrick Gitter in second. Brandon Pasalacqua third. Brian Johnson fourth. Matt DeCiani fifth. Sixth place, Derek Heitman. Seventh, Shane Parrish. Eighth, Ryan Strunk. Ninth, Chris Johnson. And I do believe 10th, Greg Wychinski. Those are top 10 stage points there. And, of course, now starts stage number 3, the longest run of the night. Of course, we haven't had a caution to break these runs up, so these guys are definitely...
Pit road, green flag pit stops are going under... No, what?
Abner Acosta's down pit road. And that gives Patrick Gitter the lead. So it looks like Gitter going to be trying to see if he can't stretch it just a little bit further.
Are you doing the math on this?
They could make it to the end. I think that this could be possibly a one-stop race. I think maybe our numbers might be off.
23 and 23 is 46.
It's close. Very close.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think you've tuned in to the best spectacle you're going to get on earth.
100%. We do see Scott Naslin. He had an issue with Jose Acosta a little bit earlier. Just got by Kenny Powell. As Kenny Powell has gone a lap down. As you see, Patrick Gitter's right there in the mix. He just actually passed Kenny Powell. Going to be putting Scott Naslin a lap down. So that means we're going to only have, I do believe, 14 drivers on the lead lap.
Man, Jose Acosta, 12 incidents. He is really going to have to kind of watch it because we got a long way to go. And at that count, I mean, he leads the field right now in the incident count.
And if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, if you get 17 incident points in this race, you will find yourself having to make a pass-through. And if you get 25, you are disqualified. And at this rate, I think we might see Jose have one of those.
Yeah, Jose's not having a good incident. He's having an incidental evening.
And I can't judge him, though, just considering I would have the same problem.
He's having an incidentful evening. You like it?
I like everything you say, Big Al. Seldom right, seldom in doubt, right? Or always right, whatever it is you say.
Seldom right, never in doubt, to quote my string.
But what a race we've had thus far. I think now's a good time for a little bit of break. Let's pay some attention to our sponsors. I know we haven't had a lot of time to do that here tonight, but while we have a little bit of a calmness, I think it'd be a great idea to do exactly that. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We just saw a big accident there for the 42 of Jose Acosta. We were just talking about him. Before we took that commercial break, let's take a rewind here and see exactly what just happened to the 42 as he is now a lap down. You see he is exiting the set of corners here. Turn number 10, I do believe he's going to be entering. And right here, he spins it right around. Just shows you how easy you got to be on that throttle. And he is sideways, hits the inside guardrail, as we saw a couple of the leaders actually passing by. It definitely has not been a great day for Jose Acosta. Of course, I'm sure he got some more X's. I'd love to hear if Big Al could find out how many X's does he have now. You see Brandon Pasalacqua there right behind him as he tries to go underneath to see if he can't get held, see if he doesn't get held up anymore. Of course, Matt DeCiani is now your leader at the moment. Patrick Gitter recently just took it down pit road. And looking at the last lap since pit, here comes Jose Acosta down pit road. But Matt DeCiani pitted a lap ago. Abner Acosta pitted 2 laps ago. Patrick Gitter pitted on this last lap. So a lot of drivers have taken their pit stops. The only person that has not, I do believe, is Josh Schaffner and Scott Naslin at the moment.
Yeah, they're just blowing their theory all all the heck about the stint.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Big Al, I know you were kind of stepping away there for a second, but can you look at Jose Acosta, the amount of incidents he has right now? Because he just had a big moment, spun out, hit the inside guardrail.
He's at 14, Brian.
14. Surprised it wasn't more there. I'm sure he got a 2X from losing control and hitting the wall as well. So he is just not having the best night at all. He found himself now a lap down. Only 12 drivers remain on the lead lap, and soon to be less than that, as Abner Acosta has reclaimed the lead, and he has
14 and halfway through also.
That's right. Abner Acosta with 13 seconds over Pasolaco. Of course, Patrick Gitter recently pitted. He's now 17 seconds back, and I think he took tires. Looking at the pit times for all these drivers, we could definitely be able to tell here. Of course, I believe Abner Acosta spent 15.3 seconds in the box, so I think that's indicative of tires. Same thing with Patrick Gitter spending 15.88. Yeah, so most drivers taking tires. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's taking tires.
Definitely starting to see this field spread out even more at the moment. A lot of guys probably happy to have those tires, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and green flag pit stops continue.
As we see Josh Schaffner coming off of pit road.
The 42 still down pit road. Not sure what's going on with that.
Could even be possibly serving a penalty.
Chad Sullivan, the recipient of a black flag. He's now got that cleared, but yeah, he did actually get a black flag.
And he finds himself 3 laps down. So a lot of drivers not having the race they probably envisioned here. But such a tall task.
That's why I love road races so much, because it's an endurance race, man, and that's what it is. It's you against the racetrack. You don't have to worry about the other drivers. You have to go out there and turn the best laps you can each lap.
Yeah, you definitely do. I mean, you're right, for sure. This is quite a tall task, a mountain to climb that these guys are having to, challenge right now, and it rises to the occasion. And a lot of drivers aren't going to make it to the end. And, we even see sometimes at some of these oval tracks where guys kind of give in out of frustration. I mean, imagine, coming to a track like this. This takes about as much, I'd say being a hardy willpower, you know what I mean? It takes a lot of willpower to be able to make it through a race like this. Even though this is not necessarily truly an endurance race, but, even...
It kind of is.
It kind of is. I mean, I'm saying if you were tackling the 12-hour Sebring, at least you get, a couple hour stint. You get to take a break, and you're in a car that handles this track a lot better than this next gen does. Even though this next gen does handle this kind of a track better than any probably NASCAR car that has ever been made. You see Chris Johnson. Oh no, Chris Johnson with a blinking issue there, starting to try to catch up there to Josh Schaffner. Of course, now only 11 drivers on the lead lap at the moment. I'm very impressed with what we're seeing from the 6 of Brandon Pasolaco. I thought he definitely was one of the contenders that possibly could win this race. He's been catching up to Abner Acosta the last couple laps.
Yes, but, here's the thing. Let's have that conversation. Abner's that guy that's going to lure you in. He's like that big bass, you know what I mean? He's going to nibble on your bait a little bit. You think you got him. And he's going to fight you, and and he's going to wear you out, and then he's going to go on about his business. And that's kind of what he's doing right now.
Yeah, lure you into a false sense of security as we're coming up on 20 laps to go here.
Yeah, because somebody wants to hear lap after lap how the gap's getting bigger. Oh, he's so what Abner does to make it worse, he just kind of slows down each lap to let you think, gives you that false sense of security, lets you think that you're gaining ground on him, and then just drives away into the sunset like a mythical creature.
Well, I think another layer to that, in my opinion, is Abner pitted a lap before Patrick Gitter did, and of course pitted on lap 23, which means he's going to probably have to do a little bit of saving, possibly, on the fuel. So maybe that even could be a part of it as well.
Sure. And take that and the fact that his fastest lap, I mean, none of these guys have ever seen. So, yeah, you put all that together, and we're just along for the ride, you and me as well.
But right now, the lead is only about 11 seconds. Abner Acosta back to Brandon Pasalacqua, of course, about 8 seconds or 7 seconds back to Patrick Gitter in third. Brian Johnson, he's about 2 seconds back from Gitter at the moment. But Matt DeCiani, he is about, I do believe, 6 seconds back from Brian Johnson. Derek Heitman, he's about, I do believe, almost 9 seconds back in 6th place. Shane Parrish, of course, big gap between 6th and 7th right now. This is over 30 seconds, about 40 seconds, I do believe, in between those two drivers. And, of course, even more gap, or not even more, but another gap between the 7th and 8th. So huge gaps between all of these drivers, and we're verging on even just having 10 drivers on lead lap. And I think by the end of this thing, I think that we're only going to have possibly 7 on the lead lap.
Yeah, we got 20 laps to go here. Hey, you know what it's like? You remember the first Avatar? Abner's riding around on one of those super dragons.
That he is. He definitely is. Derek Heitman, though, had a pretty successful day. Of course, been trying to probably get as many points as he possibly can here tonight, just considering he hasn't been able to race in the Thursday series as much as he'd like. Of course, has been actually tackling the competition of Road to Pro to see if he can, navigate his way into the Contender Series next season.
Schaffner now makes his way up into the top 10. That's got to be a good feeling for him. Now he's got to just catch up with his G&G teammate Greg Wachinski. We are really getting down to the thin of it, Brian. 20 laps to go in this contest before it is officially over.
Yeah, you talk about Josh Schaffner up in the top 10. Of course, Chris Johnson also right there on his rear end as well. And he is the last driver on the lead lap. And you see, right behind Chris Johnson is Abner Acosta. Right there. So that is the gap between the last driver on the lead lap and the leader.
Yeah, insert Jaws theme music now.
100%. But you never know what could still go wrong, though. I mean, lap traffic is always a factor. So if Abner... We've seen that even before with Abner coming up on lap traffic in previous road course races, or even other drivers that, they get involved with that lap car.
Yeah, but 20 laps to go at this point, though. I mean, are you really going to be the guy that kind of wrecks the leader? I don't think that's cool.
It's not cool, but we've seen it before. We see Chris Johnson. He gets up out of the way.
And I appreciate that. That's racemanship right there.
That does put only 10 drivers on the lead lap, soon to be just 9. And then after that, soon to be just 8. I also got to shout out Ryan Strunk. He has been looking really good here tonight. He sits in that 8th place position as we do. Oh, contact there. That's what I was talking about. That's where just a bad spot to catch, Josh there.
Yeah, I don't think that was intentional. I just think 2 cars just accidentally tried to occupy the same space.
100%.
But wow, I mean, think about it, what we're saying here. We're saying that Chris Johnson just got lapped. Josh Schaffner just got lapped. I mean, you the magnitude of that statement still resonates in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, you usually do not see these guys go a lap down. I mean, those guys are known for being front runners on the oval tracks. But I think it's it's all about how much time you spent running around this track. And a lot of guys almost treat, a track like COTA like it's got the plague. We talk about the divisiveness that this track causes. A lot of drivers, as I mentioned before, don't think that NASCAR should be at this track and might not practice it as much as they should.
Well, hey, check it out. Speaking of practicing, Alexander Carr has now got himself up to 16 incidents. Jose parked it at 14. He's still hanging out on pit road, but now Alexander Carr has 16.
100%. And he right now finds himself in 16th. So that's interesting to say those kind of numbers.
Patrick Gitter has 14 incidents.
And we could see that influence the race as well. What does Abner have?
Abner only has 2.
Wow. He only has 2.
Oh, wait, he has 7. Abner has 7.
Okay.
Right.
That's still not bad.
Brandon has 4. Patrick Gitter has 14.
But we could even see Patrick Gitter possibly having to serve a penalty because of that.
Well, if it wasn't so, we wouldn't have to report it. But this is actually going to become a factor here for a lot of these guys. So just like that, 17 goes to Alexander Carr in the 18.
So that means he has to serve a penalty.
He has a drive-through penalty that he will now incur, which means he'll just have to roll through pit road.
Yeah, and I mean, we could even see, a guy like Patrick Gitter who's ringing up front all night long possibly have to, serve that as well. And that could help out drivers like Brian Johnson, Matt DeCiani, Derek Heitman. I mean, that's a lot of time to have to spend, going down pit road, of course, having to, go through pit road speed. And also, there's a chance you get another penalty. Anytime you have to go down pit road, there's a chance you get another penalty.
It's real. I mean, we're not talking about like unicorns and I don't know, mythical creatures. But yeah, this is real.
Taking a look here at the 18, see when he has to come down pit road. Looking at him in that TBR 18 machine. Of course, he sits at the moment 3 laps down. This might put him yet another lap down. As you see, very difficult. I mean, that's another one of the big complaints a lot of people have for this racetrack as well. And that's why I was kind of surprised that these guys were going to be counting incident points. Because, I mean, I know that even NASCAR is very strict at this racetrack when it comes to going off the racetrack. I know at Watkins Glen and other tracks like Sonoma, you have a lot of runoff area to where you can run out there and it doesn't cause any penalties. But here at COTA, it's a lot stricter.
Yeah, we're definitely starting to see that come to fruition right about now.
Now, of course, if you do have that pass-through penalty, you have to serve it, I do believe, within a couple laps. So that could be something that if you don't, then you get disqualified.
Yeah. But, that's been communicated with him by his crew, so he totally understands that he has a penalty. They've shown him the flag, so he's seen that. So ultimately he's just going to try to figure out when it be most advantageous for them to serve the penalty.
Do you see the battle, I do believe, for 4th place, probably going to be heating up very soon. Matt DeCiani has been catching up to Brian Johnson. As now we see only 8 drivers on the lead lap. Soon Ryan Strunk will be going a lap down as well. And I think Abner Acosta definitely knows he can make it to the end on fuel now, because we saw Passalacqua for a long time catching up to Abner, but that is no longer the case now. 15 seconds separate those 2 drivers. As we see Abner coming up to the back here, I do believe, of Ryan Strunk. As we're going to have, I do believe, 16 laps to go next time by. Definitely, I'm telling you, I'm exhausted up here just watching these guys. I can't imagine how those drivers are feeling down there. I have a feeling that they're going to be sore tomorrow.
Oh, this is nothing.
And one thing about it, too, Big Al, is, we recently...
Oh, big contact there, right there on the racetrack. That is going to cause a huge incident.
Who, Big Al?
Hold on, I'm trying to see the numbers. The 18 and the 2. The 18 and the 22 of Scott Nashland.
Yeah, you see this right here. They're in the S's. I do believe this is when this accident occurs. 22 probably, move out of the way. That's some beef right there. I don't think the 22 was being very... I think he was probably tired of that 18.
100% ISCA beef.
Take a look back at this from a little bit of a different camera angle. See the 18 running on the bottom, slides up in front of the 22, and just look at that. Yeah, I don't doubt that was maybe on purpose.
Yeah, sorry, you were talking and I was sitting there and I was watching that on my screen. It's almost like being a security guard, just seeing the old lady get mugged.
Yeah, 100%. The 18 definitely got mugged. Had to take a tow as well. As we see the battle heating up for fourth place. DeCiani has gotten by Brian Johnson. He's now moved up into that fourth place position. But what an accident there. That definitely not going to leave a good taste in the mouth, I do believe, of either one of those drivers.
Abner slowly making his way through the field. Next car he's going to be coming across will be Mark Sanchez. Sanchez already a lap down. Now the gap between the leader and P2 being almost 17 seconds, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely very, very crazy. Could we see Shane Parrish possibly go a lap down? Of course, he's about 1:28 back from the leader. So he still has quite a bit of breathing room, but still a lot of racing left to go here. So it could be very much a possibility that he himself finds himself a lap down. And I don't think we'll get I don't think Derek Heitman in sixth place is going to go a lap down. Of course, he's about 38 seconds back. But I think it is a real possibility that Shane Parrish possibly goes a lap down. But I am very impressed with what that 66 has managed to do. I know he had some bad luck here as of late, but he looks like he's definitely showed up here a little bit more prepared here at COTA.
Yeah, definitely good to see Shane Parrish out there running strong like he is. Like you said, he's one of the few drivers that's still on the lead lap. And he's still got a little bit of time there before Abner does get up to him. So all I can say on that is run, Shane, run.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to try to be as consistent as you possibly can. And looking at lap times, I mean, Shane Parrish not looking too bad. 2 minutes, 14.984. Of course, that is well over 2 seconds slower, though, than the leader. Of course, Abner has been consistently the fastest car on the racetrack. But last time by, though, Matt DeCiani was the fastest car on the track, hitting a 2 minute, 12.186.
Yeah, Abner's was shaking hands with the clock up here. But now he seems to be in clean air, and really the only thing he's got to do, Brian, is just kind of run consistent laps to the end of this thing.
Take a look on board with DeCiani, who turned one of the fastest lap, or the fastest lap last time by out of the field for that lap. Take a look through the cockpit camera, see what he's doing there with his wheel. DeCiani definitely a good road course racer. I do believe we've seen him in victory lane. Maybe not at this track, but he's definitely a road course type of guy. And the more that these guys run laps, the more comfortable they get. Definitely see that. DeCiani, turning some really good laps. His fastest lap so far tonight, 2 minute 11.840, which is very, very fast. And he has led a lap here tonight. He started in third place. Of course, he finds himself in fourth at the moment. He comes up on Mark Sanchez, of course, who just got passed by Abner Acosta. Can DeCiani catch up to Gitter? I think that's the major question right now. They're separated by, I do believe, about 3 seconds at the moment. And that's a gap that is surmountable. I think he can catch up there. But right now, only 7 drivers remain on the lead lap. DeCiani is one of them. And he is about 25 seconds back from Abner Acosta. Could Gitter catch up to Pasalacqua? I think that this is going to essentially boil down to, Big Al, a battle for second place.
Yeah, absolutely. I do believe that's exactly what these guys are competing for at this point. But you still got to race the course. So, I mean, that's the reason why I have to run every lap, every turn, every corner, because I mean, no one's exempt. Even Abner might have a misstep or a mistake.
Yeah, we've seen it before from that driver. Even though he's been really the strongest one all day long, we've seen him make a misstep. His own worst enemy, just like almost like Chris Severo we see on Saturdays, is himself.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes those are the tough lessons that we learn. Just got to stick around and see what happens.
100%. Patrick Gitter definitely having to deal with some lap cars. He comes up to Greg Wachinski. Josh Schaffner and now Greg Wachinski battle side by side. This kind of spells a little bit of trouble for the 21. This could slow him down enough for possibly DeCiani to catch up. But it looks like Greg Wachinski and Schaffner single filing out, so that way Patrick Gitter is able to drive through here. As we come up, I do believe, on 13 laps to go.
And that's definitely been a lot different race than a lot of these guys are even probably used to, because, unless you're just an adamant road racer, you don't get to run this car in a setting by in which you don't have cautions. Does that make sense?
Well, it's a lot like what you'd see in possibly the NIS or the officials. You don't see cautions at these road courses, so at least in this league race ISCA, usually or previously, you would see that caution that would come out and save you. Could give Gitter a chance, but that is not the case.
That is not to be the case tonight.
So yeah, I mean, this is a race that if you did not prepare for it, you're going to find yourself having a little bit of a bad time. You see Gitter locking the brakes up into turn number 1. Luckily, he was able to keep it going there. You see a lot of the brake smoke, so that's another thing we haven't talked about a lot tonight is brake bias, and that is something that these guys probably having to adjust all race long. Take a look, though. DeCiani all over the back, though, of Josh Schaffner at the moment.
It's unbelievable. Schaffner's having such a hard time here this evening. And he's already down right now,
Yeah, I'd say relative he's having a hard time, but 9th place, not bad. I mean, it could be worse. You see Schaffner, he's not really wanting to let that one go. He knows that if he loses momentum, Greg Wachinski might be all over him.
And all I'm saying is very rarely do we call Josh Schaffner lap traffic. That's all I'm saying.
100%. Yeah, usually he is definitely not one that is lap traffic. But it looks like DeCiani was able to get by Schaffner, so he's going to be seeing if he can't possibly work his way up to Patrick Gitter. They're now separated by, I do believe, 3 seconds at the moment. And about 4 seconds up to Brandon Pasalacqua. As I said before, it's going to be a battle for second place. I think that's what it's going to be.
And these guys they're definitely wearing those tires down as they're making every corner count, trying to get as much speed out of this car as they can.
And it's got to be frustrating, wouldn't you say, when you see someone like Abner that makes it look so easy. And you're like, trying to drive it as hard as you can, but nothing seems to be working. How do I catch up to this guy? I mean, that's got to be just the most frustrating feeling that you can have.
Yeah, but you got to understand, though, guys like Abner, I mean, they're not like everybody else. So you just
from a different cloth.
Yeah, you just do the best you can, and then hopefully that one day you show up and you get to just dominate all of the kids on the playground. Because Abner's not there. That's that's the best way I could say it.
Well, I mean, and also keep in mind as well that Abner, I'm sure, did not, when he first started iRacing, did not hit the ground running like he is right now. It took a lot of work. I mean, these just like you hear from driver after driver after driver, you're talking about, he's just pure natural talent. There's no such thing as that, I'd say, in my opinion. Especially at a road course, you have to put a lot of work in. It takes reps.
Yeah, you know what it takes? It takes like ex-wives and lost jobs, no friends,
and thousands of laps.
I mean, yeah, that's everybody's like, oh, he's always playing that freaking video game. That's what it takes, to be honest.
But I mean, it's still, I say, what Abner's doing right now translates to the real life. I mean, I call the race. I know I don't want to jump to another thing. I know.
Go ahead, tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I called a race last night. Of course, no association with the ISCA, but contained.
Wait.
Yeah, that I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it contained real life driver. Ryan Truex, who's a real life Xfinity driver, and he was very strong out on the racetrack. I mean, and that series contained a lot of real life drivers, and it clearly applies. It clearly applies. And talking to some of the other drivers that are, in some other series that have real life track experience, they all say that this helps. ISCA, the iRacing service itself, it does translate to the real world. So I feel like if you gave Abner a GT3 at IMSA, I think he might be okay. I think he might be kind of fast,
Well, that's on you. I'm not putting him in my GT3.
Yeah, but you get what I'm saying, though. I feel like, of course, there is so many differences, though, in a lot of ways, and that's something that we could definitely discuss as well, when it comes to the real-world risk of injury and wrecking a car that costs thousands of dollars,
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
But you got G-forces, you got fatigue. There's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, it's not just as easy as just getting in the car, though. You got to put the suit on. You got to put the helmet on.
But this helps. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's great for a reference point. But I would never say to a real driver, that I'm a space cowboy on iRacing. I'm just, it is apples to apples, but it is completely different driving a real car.
Yeah, definitely feeling those physics and stuff like that in the real car and feeling the G-forces, of course, Yeah, but I mean, there's also, there's a case to be made. You talk about like William Byron, who, was really, really good at iRacing. So his father decided to get him into Legends cars, and he showed really apt. He was really good in iRacing. Showed aptitude for real life racing, and one of the first drivers that actually made it into the actual NASCAR Cup Series because of a simulator. Same thing could be said for Todd Majeski. Never touched a real life car. 10,000 iRating. They were like, yeah, I think he'd be good in a car. And he was. He's won the Snowball Derby. Yeah,
and you talk about a guy like Kyle Busch, who would spend hours playing the simulator. Then he would go race the truck race. Then he would race the Xfinity race. Then he would race. It's about laps. 10 laps to go, though. Speaking of which, in this competition. But yeah, I think it's about repetition and obsession.
Yeah, for sure. And I think real life racers as well as sim racers, they have that obsession.
You gotta have the obsession.
Yeah, I mean, just like our obsession for broadcasting and commentating to get better. I mean, and even though it's kind of hard to translate that to it, but it still takes reps. I mean, my first broadcast, I'm sure I wasn't any good. You know what I mean? Just same thing with you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to my first broadcast. I think that would be pretty comical.
I mean, yeah, it'd be much different than where you are today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But the same thing. The more laps that you put in talking about this, the more time you spend talking about it, the more you understand what you're talking about. So it's the same thing with drivers. And we call races, or sometimes at the end of that race, the guy will come up and we'll be interviewing somebody who's on the podium, and you say, man, how many laps you put in? And, oh man, I got in the car tonight, and I just, and you're like, well, okay. But that doesn't happen often. Usually,
not at a road course, that's for sure.
Well, usually, it's the guys that have spent time developing their craft. Those are going to be the guys that are going to be up front.
And we have seen just a little bit of an update here. DeCiani did get by Patrick Gitter. He now moves up to that third place position. So he's fighting to see if he can't talk to me, I guess. The first step on the ladder.
Hey man, every little step counts.
100%. I mean, third place finish here. Not a bad day at all. But
Yeah, because all these points go in the same bucket, you know, so that's a big thing that you got to think about as well.
But I gotta say, you know, I think that the 21 of Patrick Gitter deserves, you know, a clap on the back. You know, great job, because I mean, first race in the ISCA, and he's doing this well. Of course, he's not a rookie. I know that for a fact, because you know, you see this guy in A Opens all the time. He wins races. Of course, I do believe he runs with EPI, Elite Performance Industries, and you know, they don't put those logos on your car if you're not good. You know what I mean? So I think that Gitter, I hope he races in this series more. I'd love to see him out here competing more, and I think that he's definitely a very fast car driver. You know, and I think that I'd love to see more of him.
Yeah, absolutely, bro.
Now, I don't think the battle for third is over yet. We saw DeCiani last corner, I should say, kind of locked the brakes up a little bit, keeping Gitter in the fight. But Passalacqua, I thought that possibly we could see a race for second place, but it looks like Passalacqua is starting to pull away from these two drivers back here in fourth and fifth, or I should say third and fourth. But look at that, 23, almost 23 seconds in between first and second right now.
Shane Parrish, your career dissipation light is illuminated. It's right now, Abner Acosta is going to be gobbling up the distance between you and him. And he's going to be trying to put you a lap down with 9 laps to go in this thing. Wow.
Yeah, definitely got to be a little bit worrisome for that driver, as he is not far for sure from putting him a lap down. I believe we saw a change in the fifth place position as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think Brian Johnson actually just got passed by Derek Heitman not long ago.
Yeah, good to see Derek Heitman out there tonight having a strong show. He hadn't done too well here in the last couple of races, if my memory serves me correctly. But tonight, looks like Heitman's having himself a top 5 performance. Started in 5th, currently maintaining 5th. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And knowing him, this is his first race at COTA. Knowing him, right?
yeah, absolutely. Always his first time. We should just, you know what his nickname should be?
First time Heitman, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, that's better than what I was going to say.
What were you going to say?
The Virgin.
Oh, Lord. I thought that, but I was like, I don't know.
Well, we could say that. I like it, the Virgin.
I'm sure he doesn't like that.
Why? I mean, it's always his first time.
100%. But
yeah,
let's do a rundown through the field, Big Al. What do you think? 40 laps into this thing. Abner Acosta up in the lead. Brandon Passalacqua, 23 seconds back in second. Matt DeCiani, third. Patrick Gitter, fourth. Derek Heitman in fifth. Brian Johnson sits sixth. Seventh, Shane Parrish getting ready to go a lap down. Starting down or starting up our lap traffic cars is Ryan Strunk, who has been very impressive here so far tonight. 8th place, definitely not a bad day for him at all. 9th place, Josh Schaffner. 10th, Greg Wychinski.
11th is going to be Chris D. Johnson. He's a lap down. J.C. Evans in 12th, another lap down. Then the 2 lap downs with Kenny Powell, 13th. Scott Naslin, 14th. Mark Sanchez, 2 laps down in 15th. And then after that, it gets just a little bit more interesting. Alexander Carson, 12 laps down. Jose Acosta on pit road. He is 16 laps down. 17 laps down is going to be Chad Sullivan in 18th. Greg Carr in 19th, the same. And then Paul Olsen, 19 laps down in 20th place.
Now, I do want to talk about also Abner Acosta. He's been out here by himself. I'm wondering how that's going to play, Big Al. I'd like to even have you maybe update us on incident counts for a lot of these drivers.
Ooh-wee. So the incident counts stay about the same right now, though, but Patrick Gitter's still at 14. He's got a little bit more company at 14 as J.C. Evans and Kenny Powell both are going to be sitting there to say Mark Sanchez has jumped up to 16. And then after that, in 12, we've got Matt DeCiani and Derek Heitman. But after that, everybody's down to either 11 or 10, Brian. Seven laps to go.
Surprised that's the case, counting these laps like they're, counting these incident points, Big Al. I mean, that's something we're not used to here in the ISCA.
I kind of like it, though. I mean, it at some point, I think we've got to have, speaking of which, Alexander Carr looks like he had 21. And how many was it then before
25.
you go? Okay, so he had 21, but don't think he is running anymore.
Yeah, he probably doesn't want to get disqualified. I'm wondering what that would do to your. Does your, do you go to the last position, or does it just kind of keep you where you are when you get that disqualification?
Yeah, you're disqualified. However many laps. Well, no, you're disqualified, so that means your laps don't count.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think you go to last, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what a disqualification will mean. Yeah.
The race control no longer keeping track of you. Definitely appreciate everybody tuning in, though, for sure. I know that been a little bit of a different format here tonight with the way the, cautions have been we haven't had one, which I like that. But then again, I think that does change a lot of things. I think this is going to be a big message sent to a lot of drivers, though, Big Al. I think that coming to the next road course, these guys are going to be like, wait a minute, I can't make mistakes. I have to put a lot of time in. I mean, before, you could use the first stage and the second stage. It's almost like a test in a way, right? That is no longer the case. You can't do that. You can't use that as a test session in a way.
This is the reason why NASCAR actually went to stage racing, because otherwise you would have guys that would just come out there and they would just run away with this thing. Drivers need the ability to come and make adjustments and maybe get a reset. Competition caution, they call it. So with this format, I mean, you just really come out here and you sear the steak, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. And, still, if you're just joining us, we did have stages, but not stage breaks. No stage cautions here tonight. Of course, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, Brandon Passalacqua won stage number 1, if I'm not mistaken, with, I do believe, Abner Acosta winning stage number 2. So definitely 2 different stage winners. Going to be some stage points there for sure.
Yeah, it's been the Abner Acosta show here pretty much for the majority of the evening. Right now, he has currently got his sights set on the 66, and that's going to be Mr. Shane Parrish. Shane Parrish currently being shown in 7th place. He is the last car on the lead lap.
And soon to definitely change for sure, as we see Abner has been catching up to him quite substantially. You see him actually on your screen. Only about a corner, I say, away from put a lap down himself. As we're verging on now 5 laps to go here in this 47-lap race. We appreciate everybody joining us for sure for the Texas de Brazil 161.
Yeah, 5 laps to go for Abner. Everybody else still got a couple of days left. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
And Abner Acosta will take now the lap that will make it 5 laps to go. Of course, he just put J.C. Evans 2 laps down. Looking to possibly maybe even put Chris Johnson 2 laps down. So I think the majority.
The best analogy I could use, he's riding that red dragon.
Well, what a race it has been. Definitely been a fun trip here to COTA, the Circuit of the Americas. I'm looking forward to Sunday, though, Big Al. I mean, think about this. I saw I saw a tweet, I do believe, from NASCAR. Oh, a little bit of a lockup there from Abner. Saw a tweet from NASCAR. They're going to have 2 F1 champions, 4 IMSA champions, 15 NASCAR champions, all in the field at COTA this Sunday. So that is going to be really exciting to see. I think that's about one of the first times I think I've ever seen to where they have F1 champions in the grid.
Yeah, they can do that with this car. That was one of the big things in the development of this car, to be able to be so versatile just for road racing. So I think it's a big deal for NASCAR itself. A lot of people are not into it, but they gotta stick with the course. They gotta rep their brain. They gotta go ahead and make this thing. They gotta make it stick.
Abner Casa now puts Shane Parrish a lap down as it comes to 4 laps to go. That leaves only 6 drivers on the lead lap. And what a dominant performance here. And I expected nothing less. But then again, Brandon Pasalacqua, I gotta ring, or give him a lot of credit. He has looked really, really strong, and he's been one that put a lot of preparation time in as well. And last time by, he was the fastest car on the racetrack, even faster than Abner. I think Abner might be possibly in save mode, just considering still unknown if he's going to be able to make it to the end on fuel.
And then you got to look at it too, though. Can we just have a serious conversation?
Of course.
Abner's I rating, 5,825.
Road course I rating as well. I mean, that's not his oval I rating.
Right. I mean, come on, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's highest I rating in the field by far. I mean, we looked at Patrick Gitter. We were talking about him like, oh, he's got a really good road I rating, 3,000.
That would be like taking your niece and putting her in a ring against Mike Tyson.
100%. I think that's a good way to look at it.
I mean, no.
But not a lot of really close racing out on the track right now. We do see a lot of gaps that have formed. Of course, Matt DeCiani and Patrick Gitter are the closest on the racetrack when it comes to actual position at the moment. They are separated by about 4 seconds. I don't think we're going to see a change in position towards the last of this race. But then again, I mean, these guys have got to be getting very tired and wore out and just mentally.
This track is so technical as well. I mean, this isn't just go out there and kind of, no, I mean, it's beating the snot out of you every time it gets a chance. It's just waiting on you to make a mistake so it can sling you around and show everybody your back end. I mean, so you've got to be mentally poised. You've got to be dialed in. You got to be focused.
Yeah, this is not a track where you use that throttle like an on and off switch at all. As we take a look through Abner Acosta's cockpit camera, you can see just how easy you got to be on the throttle. You got to be considering shifting. I mean, there's a lot of these corners through this track that you have to go half throttle. You can't get full on the gas. And look at this. I mean, what really makes it even more complicated is having to downshift into these corners. If you downshift too soon, that upsets the balance of the race car and also could give you an opportunity to blow the engine.
Yeah, Abner makes me not want to go race again.
I mean, look at him. I mean, every move he makes is deliberate. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you don't think we have some type of bias for Abner Acosta. That is not the case. We're just in awe at how great he truly is.
It's more like Abner Picasso.
He's definitely painting a picture on this racetrack right now. I love that, Big Al. I love it. Abner Picasso. I like it. As we come, now going to be 2 laps to go when he crosses the line next time by. 30 seconds separate him and second place. Which, look at that. We had a change. Brandon Pasalacqua. I think Pasalacqua might have just had some issues. Let's take a look back. As we see, Passalacqua took a green flag stop. He did not have enough fuel to make it to the end here. Talked to him before the race, and he said that I don't think he could make it on one stop here.
Well, that's going to make a lot of other people's strategies come into question.
It definitely will, and that drops him back into the 4th place position. Thought he maybe had been involved in an accident, but no, that is not the case.
Remember, Abner pitted first.
But knowing Abner, I mean, we showed when Abner was almost letting Brandon Passalacqua catch him, right? I think that was him saving. I think that he is saving fuel right now. You see, he's even slowing down right here on the straightaways. I don't think he knows I got 30 seconds back to DeCiani right now. I can let off a little bit, save some fuel. And I think it's working for him, but then again, it's going to be close.
Well, we got one driver, looks like that's Kenny Powell, way off the racing surface.
That's him, and I do believe Derek Heitman having some issues. Let's take a replay.
Yeah, Powell missed his turn.
Kenny Powell right here. Contact there, further back.
Further back, yeah.
Here you see it. Yeah, I do believe, yeah, you see a lot of tire smoke. Let's see exactly what happened here. And this is, we talked about Kenny Powell being impressive tonight, even though with the lack of practice, and this is why he should have been practicing as he comes back onto the racetrack in front of Derek Heitman. Heitman, I do believe, not knowing where to go here in this slow speed corner. A little bit of a bump sends Kenny Powell a little bit high. Not going to be too happy about that. But then again, I mean, what was Heitman to do?
Right. That's the reason I wanted you to go back a little bit further. Kind of show the whole picture there.
100%. You see now, though, Abner has slowed down considerably. 25 seconds now separate him and DeCiani as we work on trying to get the white flag. I think I'm scared for Abner right now. I think he might be running low on gas. Why would he slow down this much? I think that he's trying to make sure he has enough, and I don't think at the moment he does.
I don't think he's worried. If anything, Brian, I think he'd have put the hammer down and then come down pit road and get topped off, get a little quick squirt of juice and go.
He does not.
I don't think he's worried about it at all. I think at this point, it's just a matter of him knowing that, look, the race isn't going to get over till I get done and at least give these guys a chance to just kind of do what they do. He's got nobody in front of him, nobody behind him. I mean,
but look at the lap. Look at how much DeCiani's catching him though. Just in that last few set of corners, he caught him by 2 seconds.
He's still not going to catch him though. I'm just saying. I think Abner's just enjoying the ride at this point.
I can't wait to talk to these guys to figure out what their fuel situation is looking like at the end of this race to see, how much gas Abner had left. Look at that. Yeah, look at that. Patrick Gitter comes down pit road. He is running out of gas. I think I might be onto something, Big Al. I think that he is going to be stopping for just a second to grab some fuel. We saw Passalacqua also dip down. Yeah, just a second in the box there for Gitter. There could be something to what I'm saying, Big Al. Not to say I'm always right, but I think there could be something to this.
Yeah, but I think Abner doesn't have to worry about it.
He pitted a lap before Gitter, though.
Yeah, all he's got to do is come back across the line here, Ryan.
He might even run out of gas across the line. Might not even be able to do a burnout here. I mean, look at how slow he is going right now, Big Al. He is rolling at a snail's pace at the moment. I think he is on fumes. Can he make it to... This is going to make this race just crazy. What if DeCiani is able to win because Abner runs out of gas? That could be a possibility for him to be such a dominant race car here tonight as we are on the last lap. Can he make it to the final set of corners?
Well, you'll get to ask him here all about it.
If he doesn't run out of gas.
got but 2 turns before he puts it in the books.
Yeah, and I think he's going to at least be able to roll it across the line as he comes through the final corner onto the final straightaway. And he's shaking the car, trying to make sure he's got gas, but he will cross the line and run out of gas.
Really? Let's see if he does a burnout.
We're getting ready to see. But I think he's out of gas.
Look at that. He's doing a solar burnout. The electric car burnout. The gas car burnout.
Oh, yeah, he's able to do a burnout. He did have fuel left. I think he was just trying to put on a show for us up here in the broadcast, Big Al.
I think he's just trying to shut you up.
Come on now. I'm up here to analyze just as you are.
I'm just messing, man. I think it's awesome.
And he burns it down. Well, let's do a quick run through the results here up to tonight's race. Did we have to wait?
Burnout by Abner, right?
Yeah, for sure. What a great race for him. Starting in 10th place, Big Al, was 15 seconds back from the leader, and he came up here to win with almost 20 seconds on second place. Wow, just what a great run for Abner Acosta. Second place, though, is going to be Matt DeCiani. Third place going to be Brandon Pasalacqua. Fourth, Patrick Gitter with his first start here in the ISCA. Fifth place, Brian Johnson. Sixth, Derek Heitman. And look at that. These guys having a little bit of fun after the finish there. But seventh place, Shane Parrish, first of the lap down cars. Ryan Strunk finishes in eighth. Josh Schaffner, ninth. And rounding out our top 10 is Greg Wychinski.
And that's going to put Chris Johnson in 11th. J.C. Evans, 12th. Kenny Powell, 13th. Mark Sanchez comes Scrawlton, 14th. Scott Naslin in 15th. 16th is Alexander Carr. 17th, Jose Acosta. 18th is going to be Chad Sullivan. 19th is going to be Greg Carr. And Paul Osen rounds out this 20-car field.
And definitely what a race. Of course, now that we have concluded here the Texas Day Brazil 161, we will now take a step away, pay some more attention to our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our post-race show.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so talking, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
Experience traditional Brazilian cuisine, served with the hospitality that Texas is famous for. Here at Texas de Brazil, you simply turn your card to green, and expert carvers serve you fine cuts of beef, lamb, pork, chicken, and Brazilian sausage. Turn your card to red when you want a break. Then repeat. Make reservations now at texasdebrazil.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. What a race it was here at Circuit of the Americas. Of course, congratulations to all of our top 3 finishers. First up, we're going to be talking to Brandon Pasalacqua, our third-place finisher. Definitely a great job to you, Mr. Pasalacqua. Of course, I do believe you started in second place. How you feeling, man? I mean, it seemed like a good race for you. Unfortunately, we're not able to finish where you started, but still, nice third-place finish. I mean, what was your confidence level coming into this race?
Yeah, no, I'll take a P3 here for sure. It's tough enough just keeping the car on the track. So I'm super happy with that result. I think we got a stage point in the first stage, racing Patrick very hard. That was a lot of fun and good stage points in the second stage. So all in all, it's a great day in terms of getting as many points as possible. There was a lot of great drivers out there tonight, and I'm just glad where we finished.
Yeah, and what kind of preparation did you kind of have coming into this race? I know I talked to you a little bit before the race, and I know every day that I've talked to you kind of this week, you've been out there trying to work on the car and make sure it's right for yourself. I mean, what all did it take to get this third place?
Yeah, in my honest opinion, I think the difference between where everybody finished tonight was probably direct correlation to maybe how much a lot of us practice. I think a lot of us are, within equal skill range when it comes to being able to handle the car. But just putting in a lot of time and getting familiar with this track, I think was very important. There's no grip out here. Sometimes there's less grip than other times, so you have to be able to adjust your driving habits here. And um, just having practice and laps down on this track makes a huge difference in understanding that. So, yeah, every day I put in work here. Terrible at COTA. I've only raced here once before, so luckily that consistency and practicing each day paved the way for me to have a good finish.
Now, how concerned were you there? I know you had to take a pit stop there at the end. Were you on fumes?
Yeah. Well, we were talking about the strategy with the G&G boys, and we knew you could make it on one stop, or you can do it on 2 stops and just get a splash of fuel at the end. I've had terrible fuel mileage all week, and I also am super impatient, so I didn't want to save any fuel. So I just tried to run as hard and fast as I could, and wherever I fall out at the end of the day, running my pace was the outcome I was going to be happy with. So I was super nervous when I saw DeCiani and Patrick stay out those last few laps. I was hoping one or both of them would come into the pits. Luckily, Patrick had to come in for a splash, so I was very fortunate there. So.
100%. Now, COTA definitely in the books. I do believe next week, if I'm not mistaken, Texas is going to be the track we're going to be going to. How you feeling about that track? I know a lot of drivers a little bit more divisive, if you will.
Yeah. Dang, I thought we were going to Richmond. So if we're going to Texas,
yeah, I do believe you're right. Richmond. I do
Okay.
apologize. I was wrong.
No, totally fine. I might be wrong too, but let's go with Richmond for now.
Yeah, it is Richmond.
Perfect. Yeah. So we just got done with a mile track at Phoenix, and now we got a 3/4 at Richmond. I think there's a lot of similarities there. If I run anywhere like I did at Phoenix, it'll be a decent day. But I need to work on tire wear and managing that right front. So we'll see. I'll have to put in a lot of laps there. I don't have a ton of experience there either. So we'll just get with the G&G boys and see what we can put together, and hopefully we all can get a good result next week.
Well, definitely got a good result this week, getting yourself a third place finish, getting to come up here and talk with me. Who can we give a shout out to after your great performance here tonight? 7 laps led as well.
Yeah, I'll take the 7 laps led. I didn't think that would happen, but congrats to Abner. I mean, gosh, he's a rocket ship out there. So good job, man. That's incredible. And then Matt as well on the P2 spot. You were really fast all day and had a perfect strategy. So awesome job. I see that we have some G&G guys in the top 10. So good job, everybody there. And then I just want to thank Butt Kicker Kenny and everything he does for ISCA, and then you guys in the booth. Really appreciate it.
All right. Well, definitely appreciate you putting on a good show out there for us. Definitely, I know you got to be wore out after this one. This 47 laps around this place. No breaks at all. No cautions to speak of. But you're able to weather the storm. Great job, Brandon. And we'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Sounds good. Thanks, Brian.
All righty. That was Brandon Pasalacqua. Next up, Big Al is going to be standing by with the one of Matt DeCiani, our second place finisher.
Matt DeCiani. This is Big Al up in the booth. Do you have me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, first off, congratulations to you, sir, for a solid second place finish here tonight.
Yep, thank you.
Man, so talk to us about this track specifically, this setup, this update, this car, and your journey and everything it took for you to be able to bring it home here tonight in second place.
Yeah, I don't know if the update really did much to the car here. Maybe the gearing's a little different, but yeah, I mean the tire wear is really not there still or anything like that. So I don't think the update did much. But yeah, I knew coming in, I had to one stop it, and I knew what I needed to do to one stop it. I had to run a lot lower gear than I typically would, and probably caused some outright speed, but figured it was quicker with the pit road delta just to one stop it.
Well, you definitely did that pretty good. Was there any point that you thought maybe somebody was going to alter your plan, or you just kind of set on that and that's just the direction you went?
No, in order to make it 24 laps on the first stint, you had to start doing it from lap one. And I mean, you could save more fuel if you wanted to, but there's certain lap times I needed to hit to run 24 laps. And then, I mean, if you look at my lap times when I had to run 23, I was about a second quicker a lap the second stint. So I knew what I had to do. But I really wasn't changing the plan unless the yellow came out or something funky. But I knew what I had to do.
Yeah, definitely got it going here tonight. You only led one lap, but congratulations on that, man. Next week we're going to take your talents to a little bit of a different track as we're headed out to Richmond. No, nothing carries over, but what are you going to be looking forward to as far as your preparations for Richmond?
Yeah, man, I love Richmond, but unfortunately I will not be there next week due to Derek and Road to Pro. But yeah, Richmond's an awesome short track. I love it. Disappointed I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, definitely going to miss having you out there amongst us, man. Congratulations again on your second place finish. Before we let you go, who you shouting out tonight?
Yeah, shout out to you guys in the booth for calling the race. I'm sure this was a long one for you guys today. Shout out to Abner. I figured I had nothing for him anyways today. And Brandon was really fast all day too. So then shout out to Patrick, first race here. And yeah, we got 4 cars in the top 7 EPI. And yeah, EPI always gives us great road course setups.
All right, man. Hey, don't go party too hard, and hopefully we'll see you here soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Alrighty, that was Matt DeCiani, our second place finisher. Definitely deserves a big shout out there for sure. Was able to be really consistent out there on the racetrack. Finished only 20 seconds back behind Abner Acosta, who we talk to next. Abner Acosta, the man, the myth, the legend, started in, I think, 10th. Abner, I mean, come on, man. How you starting in 10th place, 15th? You were 15 seconds back from the leaders at some point, and you just drove your way up there to take the lead to finish 20 seconds in front of Mr. DeCiani. And you also put all drivers, except for the top 6, a lap down. I mean, that's just crazy. What kind of preparation did you put into this today? I mean, you seemed like you just were on rails out there.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, I'm a road course driver, so I know this track. Have a lot of experience in it. I've done many laps here, so I'm super comfortable here. I did a couple laps last night, and I did a Xfinity race, which that car sucks compared to this one. So this felt like it was driving like super good. So yeah, just got in an early incident. I'm pretty sure it was maybe my fault. It's just my braking points it was so much different than Greg's, and we kind of just touched in the center. That put me behind like you said, 15 seconds, and you know, just pushed and was not aware of the fuel saving until I had to pit and notice I was like 2 laps off. So like the last stint, I had to I saved and I thought I had saved enough, hit a fast lap, and noticed that it went the other way again. I just had to keep saving till the end, which is kind of boring to save, but that's what I had to do.
Yeah, we kind of noticed that those last couple laps that DeCiani was catching you quite quickly. I think you had about 30 seconds on him before, and then you had to start slowing down. How close was it? I was surprised you were able to actually even do a burnout.
Yeah, it was at 0.3 gallons when I got to the end, and I had to completely throw away my last 2 laps. Like I think I did like 2:18s or something, but
2:17.810. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty close, and it was weird. I figured like saving 2 gallons. I mean, I figured it would have been easy if I just started saving from the start, which I did, but like it just stayed at stayed close. It never like went the other way to the safe side, so I just had to keep saving.
Yeah, 100%. So, did you, turn laps in the next gen, or is this your first race here in the next gen this
No,
week?
I turned some laps last night. And again, I have a lot of experience in this track. Like I know there's a lot of people that don't like this track. When I first started, I hated it like years ago, and I had to do like endurance races on it on GT cars and things like that. And once you turn your 600,000 laps on this track, like doing races, you start liking it, and it has a good flow. So I just have a lot of experience in it. I honestly could jump here in any car and do pretty good.
And it seemed like also throttle control was pretty important here. A lot of these corners you had to kind of go through half throttle. Was that difficult to do, or you just kind of used to it?
The Xfinity car is actually worse, so I think that actually helped me as well. The Xfinity car drives really bad. You have to kind of be safe on the throttle even more than this car. And the tires kind of wear on that car, and um, like Matt said, the tires here they don't wear out. It's kind of silly. Your fastest as the more you run on old tires, the faster you get. So I think they need to fix that. It's kind of silly that it works that way. But yeah, throttle control just gotta be safe.
Yeah, we did see also, as I know on the first stint, as you got closer and closer to the end of the fuel window, you were turning some of the faster laps, which was kind of interesting to see for sure. So definitely great job to you, though, for sure. I'm sure you love this track for sure, and you showed it to everyone out there. Send a message. I mean, that you can't make that up. You starting in 10th place. I mean, did you not qualify for a reason, or what was that about?
No, I wasn't trying to be funny about it or anything. I just didn't get here on time, and then when I got on the track, it was like 3 minutes only. So like I didn't get to finish my lap.
Oh,
So it was
okay.
just me getting here late.
Now, how was it having to get through traffic and stuff like that? I mean, you still, even having to get through traffic, were turning faster laps than the leaders.
Yeah, it's rough because you kind of don't want to, there's different skill levels because it's a road course, and you kind of don't want to step on anybody. And for example, me when I hit the five, like I was definitely gonna send a pass on Kenny, and then I didn't like overshot my turn or anything, and I just with my normal speed I caught the five when he was on his turn in. So it was just
Bad
it's
place
hard
to
to
catch
not
them.
yeah, it's hard to not run over people, and you just kind of have to pick your spots, maybe the front stretch, back stretch, things like that. But yeah, it's definitely tough. But once you get some clean air, I was able to just push.
Now, I also have one more question for you before we move on to the next track that we're going to be going to. We saw this is kind of a unprecedented thing to where the ISCA was counting the amount of X's that you received, and I know you didn't have too many. I know a lot of other drivers did have to deal with that. Was that ever on your mind to make sure that you stay within the track limits?
Uh, I think I got to. I want to say it was like 8 or something. It did get to my mind when going through lap traffic. Just to make sure you don't get like a silly 4X or anything like that, and then have to get a drive through. As far as staying in the track and normal scenarios, it's pretty good. But yeah, I was just worried about like getting contact while going through the field or lap traffic.
100%. Well, definitely great job to you. How you feeling about Richmond coming up next week? I know strong finish here. Richmond's probably going to be a cakewalk, you think?
No, definitely not. I mean, I did pretty bad in Phoenix, but I'm also doing Road to Pro, so I think I'm also gonna miss that as well.
Well, shame on you.
I know. So I'll definitely hit the next one after that, whatever that is. Yeah.
100%. Well, great job to you. I mean, leading 25 laps here, starting from where you did. I mean, it was nothing short. It seemed like a miracle out there from you. I mean, we were calling you, what was it, Big Al? Abner? I think we were calling him, I can't remember what we were saying. Picasso. Abner Picasso, the way you were painting a picture out there on this racetrack. It was a thing of beauty for sure. Who can we give a shout out to after your dominant performance here tonight?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my brother, to John Deere, TWRS for their sets. That's what I ran tonight, and I try to run all the time. It's pretty stable. And you guys at ICA for broadcasting, and everybody that participated tonight.
All right. Well, definitely thanks for your time, Abner. Congratulations on the win. Also, congratulations to Matt DiCiani for coming home in a strong second place. Brandon Pasalaka with strong third. Also got to give a big shout out to Patrick Gitter. Love that he showed up here tonight and really sent a message to a lot of these drivers that, hey, very, very fast. I hope we see more of him. I know we didn't get really to interview him, but it definitely was very close to where we could have for sure. But, man, what a race it was here tonight, Big Al. What you thinking? What are your final thoughts?
Yep. No, man, just overall, it was a long one. It was a great one. Congratulations to those that got it done. It was definitely a race of endurance, but it did not disappoint, man.
Definitely not at all. Look forward to our next time coming around the Circuit of the Americas for sure. What a race these guys put on for us here, and a little bit of some unknowns with the no cautions, the incident count being really heavily looked upon. But definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you like what you saw, make sure you reach out to Kenny Powell. Maybe look up in the iRacing League directory. Apply to join this series because 20 people at COTA, and definitely was an awesome race. We saw a lot of competition out there for sure. Shout out to everybody that participated here tonight. It took a lot of bravery to come here to COTA and really try to tackle this mountain of a racetrack. But we definitely thank you all for watching for sure. Make sure you tune in on Saturday, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the broadcast will start. The race will officially start at around a little after 9:30. Of course, we do have a qualifying, so it might be a little bit later than that. But we will be here with a whole different cast of characters. We look forward to seeing everybody as well. And if you want to keep track of the Thursday series, make sure you tune in next Thursday. We will be at Richmond. But thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.